For the latest top tips, reviews and advice, please subscribe below.
Hello and welcome to Wars Outdoors with me, Mike. Today I'm giving you a bit of a review video on a brand new awning from Dometic. So with me here today I've got Dometic Grande Air Stay porch awning. So the Grande is obviously named, we've kind of seen Dometic's collection for a number of years now, and it kind of carries on with this new update, and actually it's almost see it in a new fabric. So what we've got here is the stay version of it. They still do their kind of tour version of it as well, but this kind of almost supersedes the all-season model. So the stay fabric is all about just giving someone the ability of touring use, but staying in places longer, hence kind of the name. It's designed really to be a lot more robust, more resilient to kind of weather, actually have sort of a slightly longer lifespan as well. So we've got a bit of a blend of fabrics with the actual stay material. So we've got a polypropylene roof. So it's really nice. Something taking that without the medical industry actually, just to kind of give it a bit more easy clean, more maintenance, or less maintenance to it as well. It's got some nice unique features that on the inside, for example, you imagine the material's got like a rough and smooth side. So the smooth side is the outer part, so water can drain off and you can clean it really easily. So that's the exterior. The inside is almost like a bit more bristly. So one thing you find is a bit more texture to it, which you can see later on in the video. But it's more like to catch any kind of condensation you get inside of it. So it just kind of minimizes it a little bit. So again, that's really quite nice. The Grande comes with one size, which is 390 width, but the Grande is naturally a 3 meter deep. So it's a deep sort of awning, 390 width. You can actually extend onto it as well. So there's zips on the outer side here for an optional extension, which can go on the left-hand extension or right-hand extension. In fact, it looks something like this. So it gives you a bit of an insight into what it kind of looks like and how you can add it on. So in theory, actually, it can be bigger than the caravan itself. Now this actually will fit a caravan as well as a motorhome, mainly because it's got a dual beading on it. So it's got a 4mm and a 6mm, or 5 and 7, depending on how you measure it. So it means it can go directly into a caravan awning rail or onto a wind-out cassette awning that you get on a motorhome. It comes in a standard S height, which is basically for small, which will fit a height connection point of 235 to 265. Basically, as you can see it here, there's a very discreet zip that runs along the side of this point here. This almost expands like a suitcase. So with the zip closed, as you can see it here, it's basically going from 235 to 250. When you open Z zip, it sort of zips on the inside and the outside. That will expand it and give you an extra sort of expansion of 15 centimeters. So with the zip fully open, then you're talking 250 to 265. So again, you can pick and choose what you want. If you change from motorhome later down the line, it's still going to be obviously applicable. We talked about the polypropylene roof. What we've then got is a polycotton ripstop material throughout the sides of it. So that gives it its element of breathability, helps circulate air, but because you've got the ripstop nature to it, it's a lot more reinforced. So if you had a little bit nick or anything like that, it's going to also retain it to that point. It gives it a bit more substance as well. So it's a really nice sort of fabric to work with in general. So that's where you've got your easy clean and you've got your breathability. So that's kind of what it's really tried to do. Beautiful big PVC windows around the whole awning. All the side panels and front panels can be completely removed as well to make it almost like a gazebo and make it feel a bit lighter as well. So when you want to split the weights up, it comes in 2 sub bags, one for the main body and one for the side panels. Plus when you're feeding it into the rail, as you can see from our own Atwell's pitching and packing video, you can remove all the panels just to give yourself a little bit more of a lighter feed in point, which we call the minimum weight. Other things to point out is inflatable. So it's a single point inflation, which is located in the center point here. Will inflate the whole awning itself. You get a manual pump supply with it as standard, but you can buy an electric pump if you really want to. At the bottom of each individual beam, there also is a deflation point as well, so it's very easy to get the air in and the out as per our pitching video. Other things to point out is we've got obviously webbing straps located on the front here to give good sort of tension to it. I'd highly recommend some additional storm straps to go off the side just to give it protection from either side. So that for me would be an absolute must. All of the skirting around the base of it is also PVC, so it's very again robust and easy to clean. And you get ladders supplied for all the pegging points, so you can then adjust the height or tension depending on your lay of your land. Naturally, there's a little bit of adjustment with kind of the air structure. 9 psi is the recommendation. You get a 12-month warranty on sort of workmanship, but 2 years on the tubes. Generally, I would say personally, Dometic from a tube quality point of view, what the best on the market. For the amount of awnings we sell with Dometic, the amount of tube issues we get, it's remarkable. That, in terms of we was looking at return rate or issue rates for that matter. So we always analyse that and see what which brands do things the best, so we know from when we come to look at buy or feeding back to the manufacturer, where their weak points are and where their strong points are. No one makes a perfect product every single time. There's always an element of that. Now, we've got more of a kind of very modern style look of it, which is nice. Two big panels that, like I said, can be removed if need be. You can also make them, you can create like a veranda kind of style, so with the zips located on the front here, you can drop that down. There's an extra veranda bar you can purchase to go inside, so you have a bit of airflow into it. Keeps the dogs necessarily inside, but you can still have ventilation points. On the external part of it, there's also mesh panels that can go onto it. So the mesh panels now sit on the external side of the awning. The reason being is you can then, when it's raining or not raining, you can basically open and close it from the inside rather than going outside to drop the panel down. And it means then the inside panel just goes over the veranda pole, which is an optional extra, and then you can utilise it in that way. The side panels are also interchangeable, so what you find with the side panels is you can reposition the side door, so rather than the door into the awning being at the back of the caravan or motorhome, and you sort of imagine you've got a door that's literally opposite side there, you haven't got to come out your door of the motorhome, out and straight, close the door to get out. I butchered that a bit, but you get the idea. By changing this panel in with the one on the other side, it repositions the door from the back section to the front section. With one of the panels, what you do find, which is the side one here, you have a PVC window, and in the other one, which we've got this side, you've got a PVC cover over the top of a mesh. So then in theory you've got your mesh door, which you can have on both sides, one panel mesh in here, so this can be almost like a full mesh panel, and then you've got your, your watertight PVC cover as and when you need to. Other things to point out is we've got internal curtains. In fact, let's bring the camera inside actually and just have a look at some of the internal features of the Grande stay. So now inside the Grande, you can probably see the overall width we've got in here. That 3.9 meters wide is really quite boastful, and that 3 meter depth really helps to make it and change it really nicely. Again, you've got a slightly more modern style down, so you kind of a natural slope to it. One thing you do find is the middle beam is a little bit taller than the others, just to allow the water to slide off as it should do. Signal inflation point obviously inflates the whole tube, goes up from here and distributes itself through the valves here. All the valves you can be isolated off, so each individual beam can be isolated off if there was, God forbid, an issue. So you can just isolate that one off, unzip that, get the base of the bladder out like a bike tyre, patch it, repair it, or even just remove it completely, and then you can just then put it back in. It's like a garden hose kind of fixture, so very easy to do, and they've kind of made it as simple as possible. Now, again, like I said, a manual pump comes supplied with it as standard. Good size sort of tubes as well, and it's got a real nice sort of structure to it, and the casing around it again is really quite nicely and reinforced. As we mentioned, all the panels can come out, so it can almost be just like a gazebo. We've dropped this down, so there's an additional veranda pole you can purchase, basically just to take the weight off the zip and give it a bit more structure, so I kind of highly recommend that. When we want to kind of close it up, we can also, like I said, on the outside, do this fully from the inside, even if the mesh panel is placed on the inside. And then we've got, like I say, beautiful crystal clear PVC windows. We've got traditional style kind of curtains as well. So it's a real nice kind of softer touch fabrics, so much better than the shower curtains they've had in previous years. The runners have changed as well, so it's much easier, no kind of plastic, solid whitey plastic kind of clips. Run quite smooth. There's a little tag point down the bottom here, just to kind of keep the actual panel, the curtain itself, close to the panel itself. And you can, again, just pop that in there as a little retaining strap. Other things to point out on is we've got lots of little hanging points for things like lanterns. So we've got Velcro tabs for the saber lights. Now they can be put on the front beam or on the roof beam here as well. There's little Velcro tabs as well running, so you run cables down to them from your main point wherever you're going to kind of have it. There's a hanging point located there, which basically you can buy a front to rear pole to go onto it, and there's a clip point at the top. We've got an accessory track on the back thing as well, so you can actually add storage pockets to onto where the caravan actually is, or the motorhome for that matter. And then you've got foam pads here to buy some additional poles to seal it against the vehicle. Option for limpet holes as well, so you can kind of get a bit more better seal as well. Works in conjunction with one another. And there's 2 in points in there just to kind of, depending if you've got a motorhome or caravan, which one you're going to utilise for that. Apex ventilation points at the side as well to help circulate airflow if you're not purely using the mesh doors or kind of the mesh window as well. And then a draft skirt comes with it as standard, but a wheel arch covers an optional extra, depending on if you've got a single axle or twin axle. You can pretty much pick and choose that. Array of flooring is probably what I would recommend. So main items I purchase is storm straps, floor, the cushion carpets, rear poles, and above and beyond that, whatever you kind of go for on wheel arch cover actually. So again, it gives you a bit more of an understanding of that. But let's bring the camera in to talk about some of these features I've just been mentioning. Like I said, the depth is really quite nice actually. You know, it means when you've got a table and chairs and then you are a bit further away from the actual caravan itself. Like I said, I've got a bit of a twin axle, so you know, you've got plenty of space inside of here. The nice coloured roof again just kind of helps to make it quite bright in here, even with the kind of slightly darker panelled sides. You can probably see, there you go, the sort of ripstop material running throughout there as well. That's the points I mentioned about kind of the hanger point for lanterns. We've got a little white points here. These are for an optional roof lining. Apex ventilation points located at the top, and there's the sort of poles and the hanging points there. Accessory track located on the top point there, and then we've got that's the internal side of the zip for that expansion. The curtain runners, almost like a little plastic part, very easy to kind of view. They run and slide much easier and look a bit neater, so you haven't got kind of a plastic on that point. It's just a nice bit of kind of fabric. Traditional kind of curtains, and again, every single PVC window has that as well. And then so you've got the isolation taps located there, and that's the extra point from front to rear. We've got a point on the very front of the awning, actually, down the front here. So this is the external zip, which you can add to bind the extensions onto. So you see how much higher it goes. When you buy the annex, it zips onto this point, but when the obviously extension goes onto the top point here as well, and you can see the ventilation point out the side there. A little clip located on the front section as well here. This is for the windbreak. So you buy an inflatable windbreak that clicks onto the awning, and then you can, again, 2 points that goes into the seam for the front straps. But again, you can see probably nature of the fabric and how it kind of sits and works. What we'll do actually is kind of go for a little walk round. You can see kind of the fall of the fabric of how the actual structure of how it kind of sits. Really quite nice. Two big front panels, so when you look at it straight, sort of on the nose. I really do quite like the colours. I think it does look really quite smart, especially when you got sort of it next to an extra sort of caravan. Again, sits really well. Got the mesh panels on there. All the pegging points located at the bottom, and you've got some of the orange points, which are kind of the main kind of pegging points. So that way, it kind of helps you to distinguish kind of what you're pegging or pitching first. On the whole, I think, yeah, it's a big improvement. I prefer it definitely in comparison to, say, like the all-season model, which there were some maintenance things probably that wasn't quite as good as that, as it turns out, after a few years. But Dometic have really worked hard on the kind of quality of this and spent a lot of time working on the fabrics to make sure what they bring to market is going to be sort of pretty much, you know, work as it should. Other things to bear in mind with this is there are some bundle deals that we offer with this. But I think for those persons looking to stay in longer stays, touring and that sort of stuff, if you're looking at using it above 6 weeks a calendar year, so it could be a week here, a week there, but 6 in total combined, then I think this is where the stay comes into its own. The tour is again more touring use, but when you just got to eat into its life quicker, whereas I think this is a bit more robust. This is obviously more breathable as well, so you get less condensation because of the breathability on the sides as well. But I think it looks well, it looks really smart, it's a nice little spec. It's not that much more money than in comparison to, say, the Tour version of the Grande, but I think it's worth spending that extra bit, and you will see that in the extra lifespan you get out of the product on the whole. But yeah, for more information, of course, on the Grande Stay, check the link below this video. It'll take you straight through to our website. We've got more information on things like the pack sizes, floor dimensions, individual features, anything else you need to know, again, like I said, bundle deals and that sort of stuff as well. But hope it's been helpful. It's a bit more of a deep dive into it. Looks smart, really quite like it. And yeah, certainly one to watch out for. And with that extra bit of deeper depth than you do see from other brands, I think it ticks a big box on that sense. But hopefully it's been helpful. But we look forward to seeing you again on our next Atlas Outdoors video reviews or tutorial videos.